Live from KSAT 12, the news at 5:30 starts right now.
A teen is behind bars in connection with a fatal shooting at a West Side car wash. That's our top story this evening.
Yeah, this is a story we first told you about as breaking news last night on the Night Beat. Our John Paul Barajas is at that car wash with what we know so far.
We're off Timber Hill Drive in Wurzbach, where around 9 p.m. last night, San Antonio police found a 33-year-old man unresponsive behind this car wash. Now, according to San Antonio police, they say he was shot in the hip and eventually rushed to University Hospital, but he died from his injuries. It's unclear what led to the shooting, but police believe an argument broke out between the man killed and at least two other men. One being 18-year-old Cesar Martinez, who ran from the scene but was caught at the gas station across the street. He's now being charged with murder. The other person involved was a family member of Martinez. Police say he was not facing any charges at this time, but he was taken in for questioning. Now, this is an ongoing investigation, and at this time, the 33-year-old person who was shot's identity has not been released. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, John Paul. New at 5:30, we now have the name of the woman allegedly killed by her roommate, who was then in an hours-long standoff with SAPD. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office has identified her as 35-year-old Miranda Kennedy. Officials say she died from multiple blunt force injuries to the head. Kennedy's body was found about 20 miles away from the home inside the trunk of a vehicle. Her roommate, 58-year-old Renee Devora, is facing a murder charge. The arrest affidavit states that Devora confessed to killing her.
San Antonio police say speed could be the cause of a crash that left one driver dead on the northwest side this morning. That crash happened around 1:30 on Loop 1604 East at Nacogdoches Road. Police say at some point that driver lost control and crashed into a guardrail. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The Bexar County Medical Examiner's Office still working to identify him tonight. No other vehicles were involved in that crash.
A man is in serious condition today after being beat up and stabbed at his own party overnight. And now police are looking for several suspects. The incident happened at the Reserve Apartments off Babcock Road. San Antonio police say the man went outside at some point, and that's when he says he was beat up by several people. He says he was stabbed by some object before the suspects took off. He was taken to University Hospital. Police were able to interview some witnesses and possible suspects shortly after that. However, no arrests have been made yet.
Around Texas tonight, two Houston police officers are on administrative leave after hitting and killing a man with their patrol car while they were on a high-speed chase. The officers trying to pursue suspects connected to a stolen vehicle and aggravated robbery when they lost control of the cruiser they were in. That vehicle ended up on a sidewalk, hitting the unnamed pedestrian. He was pronounced dead at the scene. 3 of the 5 suspects they were chasing were eventually captured. We are also learning new information on the Oxford Township High School shooting that left 4 students dead in Michigan. That accused shooter now facing murder charges, and his parents also facing involuntary manslaughter charges. Prosecutors say the suspect's father bought that gun that was used in the rampage on Black Friday. The parents are accused of failing to step in on the day of the tragedy despite being confronted with a disturbing drawing and chilling message, quote, "blood everywhere," that was found at that teen's desk. The school now addressing criticism of its actions leading up to the shooting, saying in a statement they were told the drawings were connected to his plans to be a video game designer. The Detroit Lions today honoring the shooting victims by holding a moment of silence before their game today.
Back here at home this morning, thousands of runners poured through the downtown area in excitement to once again participate in the annual Rock and Roll Marathon. Even those who didn't win still had lots of reasons to run with pride. Jonathan Cotto has the story.
On your mark, get set.
Let's go!
A weekend of running, rocking, and rolling filled the streets for the Rock and Roll Series. Back after the race became a COVID casualty last year, the marathon winners, San Antonian Colin Mars for the men and Ilde Gal from North Carolina for the women. For every runner, a story and an experience. This rock and roll veteran says just a few years ago he weighed over 400 pounds and adds it was a near-death experience that changed his life.
And I have never run an event like this before. You know what I mean? I couldn't even go around the block in 2015. So now, 6 years later, we've gotten better, have overcome the heart attack, so did 14 half marathons.
Runner Alex Daniels finished first in Saturday's 5K, and he says taking the victory is a blessing after he suffered a collapsed lung just last year.
I had to spend about 3 weeks in the hospital, and it was then that I decided, I'm going to come back home, just shut it down for a little bit try to recover. And, out of nowhere, running just seemed to come back to me. I gradually got back in shape, and, here I am. I'm winning the rock and roll 5K with the winning time, so.
And this is what the end of a marathon and half marathon looks like. And after a short hiatus, the 2021 Rock and Roll Running Series returns, not only giving the community more than 18,000 participants, but as many here have expressed, it's returned a sense of normalcy. Reporting from Hemisphere Park, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead on the news at 5:30, travel restrictions are changing again here in the U.S. How soon they will go into effect and why some people are saying it's not the right move to get ahead of the Omicron variant.
New travel rules for entering the U.S. set to go into effect tomorrow.
Yeah, this is the Delta variant continuing to fuel the vast majority of new COVID cases here in the U.S. And now health officials say they've detected that new Omicron variant in more than a dozen states.
Cole Higgins breaks down those new regulations.
Omicron is in the U.S. with cases of the coronavirus variant identified in at least 17 states.
And we're following them closely, and we are every day hearing about more and more probable cases, so that number is likely to rise.
Prompting U.S. officials to once again tighten air travel regulations. All inbound international travelers must test negative for COVID-19 within 1 day of departure for the U.S. starting Monday. The new order taking hold for all flights taking off after 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. The new rule applies to all passengers 2 years or older, but there's no requirement for post-arrival testing or quarantine. The U.S. still restricting entry to travelers from South Africa and 7 other African nations. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the U.S. was in the dark about Omicron when that decision was made. Some South Africans say the travel ban is unfair.
We don't think it's fair because the way in which it's been imposed is quite uneven. And a lot of the responses in the last few days really just smacks of a very knee-jerk way of dealing with this pandemic. It goes against the solidarity that was promised to us at the beginning of this pandemic.
Fauci says the administration hopes to be able to lift the ban within a, quote, reasonable period of time.
I mean, we all feel very badly about the hardship that might have put upon not only South Africa, but the other African countries. And for that reason, in real time, literally on a daily basis, we're reevaluating that policy.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Getting into the holiday spirit, for some people, seeing the Christmas displays and the lights is exactly what they need to do. Luckily for you, we've compiled a list of the best places to check out in and around San Antonio, from the San Antonio Riverwalk to the Old West Christmas Light Fest in Bernie and even the Texas State Capitol. These are just some of the top 20 highly rated according to Yelp. To see the full list, head to KSAT.com.
The botanical gardens, too, I keep seeing people take pictures of. That looks like they've got some pretty cool stuff going on over there, too.
Yeah, a nice display, I think, that is set up. If you were doing any of that this weekend, the weather wasn't too festive. Now, if that's on your list of things to do this holiday season, going out to see some lights tomorrow evening, it's going to be much cooler outside behind our next cold front, so it'll be kind of better weather to throw a sweater on and go check out some holiday lights. I know it was very warm and muggy this weekend. Not very festive here for early December, but things will be changing tomorrow. We'll talk about that shortly. The aquifer today, still no change in its level, holding steady at 665.6. And another day with just molds as our lone allergen. They're moderate today with a count of 980. We'll be right back.
You know, after what we endured earlier this year, I would never dare dream of a white Christmas around here, seeing how much chaos that could cause. So I will just wish for a cool December, maybe a cool Christmas.
Yeah, my poor plans. Don't even wish that on them again.
Yeah, no, mine are still dead.
Oh my gosh, I know. A seasonable Christmas would be
that's
fine.
perfect.
We have that, please.
We're not asking for a lot, right? This was an above average weekend in terms of temperature. So if you thought to yourself, gee, it's kind of warm out here, sweating a little bit, doing any yard work outside, yes, it's warmer than it should be this time of year. Our average high today is 67. We made it up to 77 this afternoon. Our records this time of year are in the mid to upper 80s, so not quite that toasty, but still pretty warm. Elsewhere, temperatures were able to climb into the mid, even upper 80s in spots today. 87 the high in Cotulla, 84 in Pleasanton, 81 today's high temperature in Gonzales. So a lot of us today saw afternoon highs in the upper 70s, even some 80s, plenty of clouds. Cloud cover will hang around into Monday, but what will really change behind our next cold front are our temperatures this time tomorrow. A lot of us will be looking at temperatures in the 50s. So this will be a noticeable cold front sweeping through tomorrow morning, and I'm going to detail your Monday coming up in just a minute. Current temperature 76 at the airport, 80 in Pleasanton. We've got some mid to upper 60s across the hill country and extensive cloud cover. We had some low clouds early today. Those were able to mix out, but we've still got a ton of high clouds streaming in from the southwest, and those will stay in place this evening and overnight. Our cold front that rolls through in the morning, it is still up in the middle, the central plains, moving through portions of Kansas and Missouri right now. There's the parent low pressure system, and there is some much colder air behind this front that will be spilling out of the northern plains and Canada. It's only 3 degrees in Cut Bank, Montana, currently 27 right now in Bismarck. It will not get that cold, but it is this colder air mass that will continue to spill south tonight and tomorrow morning and eventually make it to our area for a lot of us mid to late morning on Monday. So overnight, things will stay cloudy, humid, and pretty balmy. Our temperatures for a lot of us will be stuck near 70 through early tomorrow morning. I can't rule out a little more patchy fog and some areas of mist as we start the day Monday morning. But here comes our front. For parts of the hill country, this will be moving through about 6 to 9 a.m. So this area in blue, you'll start to feel the effects of the front by mid-morning. It will move through Bexar County, the San Antonio area, Bernie, New Braunfels, between about 9 and 11 a.m. So this area in blue, 9 to 11 tomorrow. You'll notice the changes. Notice we've also got a broken line of rain with this front. There will be a window for some isolated rain as this frontal boundary is passing through. However, once it's by, rain chances will drop off and come to an end. For areas south and east of San Antonio, generally south and east of the Highway 90 corridor, those of you a little bit closer to the Gulf Coast, you can expect this front to move through between roughly 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Then it will continue to drop south, taking the rain with it, and our temperatures start to tumble behind this front. So here's a look at your temperatures tomorrow. We will likely see, for many of us, our high temperature for the day before lunchtime. So somewhere around 79 to 10 a.m. And then behind the front, temperatures will drop pretty quickly into the 50s. Will likely rebound somewhere near 60 during the middle part of the afternoon, but overall it is just going to be much cooler tomorrow. So if you'll be out very early, it will still be warm and muggy, but you will want to have a jacket with you for the afternoon, evening commute because it will be much cooler. It will also be a little windy at times tomorrow as this front comes through. We'll see some wind gusts jump up to 30-35 miles per hour, with wind gusts starting to drop off about this time tomorrow evening. So the wind will be a factor as well. We'll have some drier air moving in with this front tomorrow and Tuesday, but by about the middle of the week, humidity comes back and it will be warm again. We're looking at highs potentially back in the 80s before another front to start next weekend, guys.
December in South Texas.
Yep.
Here you go.
All over the place. Thank you, Katie. All right, Larry, UTSA Roadrunners are going bowling, and they won't even have to leave the state of Texas.
No, it's going to be right here in the state of Texas, and a quick search on social media. A lot of UTSA football fans not really pleased with this selection, but UTSA is staying in the state, and they're going to play a team they've never faced before, and the Valero Alamo Bowl will feature 2 10-win teams for the first time ever coming up. That was Frank Harris after winning the Conference USA Championship, and today the Roadrunners have more reason to celebrate in big board sports. UTSA will face San Diego State in the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl on Tuesday, December 21st. It's the second straight and third overall bowl game for UTSA. The Roadrunners are 12-1 and beat Western Kentucky 49-41 to win the CUSA Championship Friday night. The Aztecs are 11-2 and lost 46-13 to Utah State in the Mountain West Conference title contest. Head coach Jeff Traylor has yet to win a bowl game in his career, but he also hasn't been on the sideline for a bowl game as a head coach yet. So he had some fun with his record at today's media availability.
My daughter told me on Wikipedia I've got an 0-2 bowl record as a head coach, and I'm like, no, that's not fair because I didn't coach at SMU. Sonny coached that game, and Barry coached in the last one, and I got an 0-2 record and haven't even coached in a bowl game yet. So I need some help there on the Wikipedia. Who is Mr. Wikipedia? Is that Mr. Wiki? I mean, who is that? It's all of us. It's all of us. It's y'all's fault then. Fix that, somebody.
We'll fix it, Coach. Number 24 in the AP poll, UTSA will face San Diego State in the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl Tuesday, December 21st, 6:30 p.m. at Toyota Stadium. UTSA is the designated visiting team. The Valero Alamo Bowl will feature number 14 Oregon, number 16 Oklahoma. It's the Big 12 versus the Pac-12. The Ducks are 10-3 and designated the away team. The Sooners 10-2 and will serve as the home team, occupying the west sideline. They're making their first appearance in the Valero Alamo Bowl.
Exciting matchup, and you look at all the CFP bowl games and the rest of the lineup outside of the CFP, we've got the highest ranked matchup of anybody in the country. So again, it just speaks volumes too. Great conference partners in the Big 12 and the Pac-12, tremendous sponsor in Valero, and a great destination city that people love coming down to.
Here's your Valero Alamo Bowl matchup. Oregon and Oklahoma, Wednesday, December 29th, 8:15 p.m. at the Alamo Dome. The first Alamo Bowl featuring two 10-win teams. Baylor beat Oklahoma State 21-16 in the Big 12 championship game, pushing their record to 11-2, matching a school record for wins. Bears quarterback Blake Sharpen was named game MVP, passing for 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the Bears are Sugar Bowl bound once again for the second time in 3 seasons. Number 7 in the CFP, Baylor, will play number 8 Ole Miss Saturday, January 1st, 7:45 p.m. from the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Now, Texas A&M will play Wake Forest in the Gator Bowl on Friday, December 31st at 10 a.m. in Jacksonville, Florida. They're 17 and 25 in the CFP rankings. The Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee will see Texas Tech and Mississippi State play football. That game is Tuesday, December 28th at 5:45 p.m. The CFP playoffs will go down Friday, December 31st. Number 4 Cincinnati will play number 1 Alabama, 2:30 p.m. at the Cotton Bowl at AT&T Stadium. And number 3 Georgia and number 2 Michigan will square off in the Orange Bowl that night at 6:30.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
Houston Texans hosting the Colts today, and this game was all Indianapolis. First quarter, Colts running back Jonathan Taylor takes a direct snap, scores a 1-yard touchdown to make it 7-0 Colts. That score was a direct result of Texans QB Tyrod Taylor getting intercepted on the Texans' first offensive play of the game. Now, he was benched in the third quarter for rookie quarterback Davis Mills. Taylor was just 5 of 13 for 45 yards and an interception before he was pulled. Colts win in a shutout, 31-0.
2 turnovers were a big key for us not being able to sustain anything. I just got to look at the, Tyrod through the times that he was in there, and then look at Davis while he was in there, and then just see where we need to go from there.
Houston will host Seattle a week from today at noon at NRG Stadium. Number 1 in the city, the Brennan Bears were knocked out of the playoffs by Lake Travis 42-17 in the Class 6A Division I state quarterfinals in Dripping Springs yesterday. It's the Cavaliers' 20th straight playoff win against a San Antonio area team. The Bears trailed 21-0 and 21-3 at halftime and could not come back.
Hold our heads high, and we did a lot of great things this year, but again, at the end of the day, you got to be able to shoot and win a game like this. So hopefully we can learn from that and capitalize, next year.
The Bears finished the season 13-1. The Cavaliers will meet Galena Park North Shore in the state semifinals 3 p.m. Saturday at Round Rock. Led by Derek White and his team-high 25 points, the Spurs beat the Warriors 112-107 last night to push their winning streak to 4 straight games. The Spurs led by as many as 22 points in the second quarter and by 11 after 3. Golden State made a fourth-quarter run to take a 3-point lead after this Steph Curry layup with 2 minutes left in the game. But the Spurs answered with a 9-1 run to seal the deal. White made a huge triple with $1:43 left in regulation to put them up for good, 107-106.
We didn't panic. They were up 3, I think, right? And just answered and found a way to get a win. So, I mean, it's not a recipe for success. I mean, we want to keep the leads that we have, but just stay with it, compete, and it's a good thing happened tonight.
Out their 3-game road trip tomorrow night, 8 at the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix guard Devin Booker is out with a hamstring injury.
Larry, thank you very much.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.